All right, so today we're diving into something a little bit different, kind of counterintuitive. We're going to be looking at Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power, and specifically Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? You would think that to be powerful, you have to be present
Right.
all the time. But Green is suggesting that maybe sometimes stepping back can make you more valuable.
It's funny, it's like the opposite of out of sight, out of mind, right? It's more like absence makes the heart grow fonder, but for power dynamics.
So how does this work? Green uses all sorts of examples, from historical figures to literary characters to kind of explain this idea.
One of the most compelling examples, I think, is the story of Guillaume de Balaun. He was a troubadour in the Middle Ages. And this guy falls for this woman, but she starts ignoring him. You'd think he would just move on, but
The less interested she is, the more obsessed he becomes. Exactly. Green even says that if she'd kept ignoring him, he would have loved her to the point of madness. And it's an interesting point because it gets to this whole idea of scarcity. The less available something is, the more we want it.
right, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like limited time offers, right? All of a sudden, you need that product.
Exactly. And it's not just shopping, right? So for the troubadour, she eventually comes back. They have this passionate reunion, but then his feelings start to fade.
So the takeaway is that a little distance can actually make people more into you,
Yeah.
but being around all the time has the opposite effect.
Yeah, it's about being a little mysterious, a little intriguing. Keep them guessing.
Okay, so let's move away from medieval romance to something more historical. Green also talks about Deioces, a judge in ancient Media.
Right, Deioces, he was known for being wise, fair, but instead of seeking attention, he just withdrew from public life, like full-on recluse in his own home.
Bold move.
Ugh.
Did that backfire on him?
No, actually, it had the opposite effect. People started talking about him more about it because he was gone. They missed his judgment, his ability to settle arguments fairly. It's like he created a void that everyone wanted him to fill.
So by stepping away, he actually became more influential.
Exactly. And here's the kicker. Because of this reputation he built, by being absent, the people actually asked him to become their king.
Wow. So he basically became king by making himself scarce.
But, you can only play hard to get for so long, right? Eventually, you have to deliver.
You can't just be a phantom. There has to be something there.
Mm.
And that leads us to another example, Greta Garbo. She was a huge star, like the epitome of Hollywood glamour, known for being super mysterious. And what does she do at the height of her career?
She disappears, retires completely, at 35.
Exactly. And by doing so, she kind of solidified her legend. People are still fascinated by her today.
Yeah.
It's a perfect example of how being less available can actually increase your impact long term. It's like she understood that mystique isn't just about talent. It's about making people feel like they're missing out, creating that longing. It goes way beyond Hollywood, though, right? Like, think about building a brand. Exclusivity makes people want it more.
Absolutely. And it plays into the psychology of anticipation and delayed gratification. Absence heightens desire and makes the eventual reunion or the memory, in Garbo's case, that much stronger.
It's really interesting when you think about what Napoleon said. The thing about, if I'm seen at the theater too often, people will stop noticing me. Especially today, when we're all so visible because of social media. It makes me think about those influencers who...
They disappear for a bit, right? Or they'll limit their post to create that feeling of exclusivity. They know if you're always there, you become less interesting, predictable.
Yeah, like Green says, too much circulation makes the price go down.
Yeah.
You're everywhere. You're nothing special.
Exactly. You lose that mystery, that thing that makes people want to pay attention.
Okay, so we've seen how this works in love, leadership, even fame. But how do we actually use this in our lives? It still seems kind of vague.
Yeah, Green doesn't give you a step-by-step, But he does say that it's not about being manipulative or playing hard to get just to play hard to get. It's about understanding when to be present and when to hold back.
All right, so not about being a jerk to seem important.
Exactly. Remember Deioces? He didn't just disappear randomly. He had already established himself, as someone with wisdom and integrity. Then he withdrew.
So it's not about hiding if you have nothing to offer. It's about building something and then revealing it strategically. So when you do step back, how do you do it right?
Do it with purpose. Don't just vanish. Leave people as something to miss, a reason to want you back.
Kind of like leaving breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Right. Little hints of what you can do, like when artists release one song and then go quiet for months before the album.
Yeah, that's a good example. It's about making people curious. Let's make this practical. Say you're working on something big at work. Instead of like constantly updating your boss, just focus on the task and deliver great results when you're done.
Let your work speak for itself rather than always asking for approval.
Exactly. It shows you're capable. And let's think about social media, right? We're all overwhelmed with stuff. But what accounts do you actually like? The ones posting every 5 minutes, or the ones that are more selective, you know?
Definitely the selective ones.
Well,
The ones that make you actually pay attention when they post.
right. It's quality over quantity. Be careful about what you share, and your online presence becomes more interesting.
So whether it's work, online, or even with friends and family, it's about being deliberate, about, like, how much you're there, like a dance.
Yeah, showing and hiding, giving and holding back. Like a dance, it takes practice to get it right.
We've covered a lot. If we had to, like, sum up Law 16, what would be the key takeaways?
First, how available you are affects how valuable you seem. Scarcity, makes people want things more.
Second, don't be too available. Create a little mystery. Make people anticipate you.
Third, have something to offer. Don't just step back for no reason. Build something worthwhile first.
And finally, be smart about how you disappear. Don't just vanish. Give people a reason to miss you, to be excited for your return.
If you master these things, it changes how people see you, how much they respect you.
This has been, like, really eye-opening. I feel like I see everything differently.
That's the thing about these laws of human nature. They're always working, whether you realize it or not. But once you see them, you can use them.
Like a secret weapon. But you got to use it right, ethically.
Right. The point isn't to trick people. It's about building real respect and connection.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive into absence, any last bits of wisdom for our listeners?
Think about where you might be too visible in your life. Are you always available? Saying yes to everything, flooding social media with every thought.
Oof, that one hit close to home.
We all struggle with it, right? It's how the world is now. But sometimes the best thing is to step back, make some space, let people miss you.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Exactly. And not just in romance, at work, with friends, even with yourself.
So true. Sometimes you need to, like, take a break from everything and listen to yourself. Find that creative spark again. Those are the moments when you step away that you find clarity.
Yeah. And when you come back from those breaks, you're refreshed, ready to do more.
This has been great. I'm ready to, like, go out there and, well, conquer the world strategically.
There you go. Remember, the power is yours. Use it well, be ethical, and your influence will grow.
It's funny. We always think being successful means always being out there, Like if you're not constantly hustling, promoting yourself, you're falling behind. But this whole idea of strategic absence kind of changes that.
It really does. It's like a whole different way of thinking. We're so used to more is more, but sometimes choosing less can actually make you stand out, have a bigger impact.
Yeah, it's kind of paradox. You're less available, but more valuable. Step back, and it creates space for your work, ideas, even relationships to grow.
And that space, it lets anticipation build, curiosity, it gives people time to miss you, to actually want you around.
It all keeps going back to that Napoleon quote for me. If I'm seen at the theater too often, people will stop noticing me. You're overexposed. You lose your power, your mystique.
Exactly. It's like, think of a rare gem. You see it everywhere. It's not so special anymore, but keep it hidden. Only bring it out for special occasions. Suddenly it's valuable again.
So we're not saying become a hermit, disappear completely. It's about being more aware, right? Making choices about when to be present and when to, step back.
Exactly. Find that sweet spot. Balance being seen with being scarce. That's how you stand out without burning out or becoming just another face in the crowd.
This whole conversation has been so interesting. It's like a whole new way of looking at things for work and for my personal life.
It really is. It's about understanding how people work. These like almost hidden rules of attraction and influence that have always been there.
And once you understand them, you can use them to your advantage, not to like trick people, but to build real connections, to do things that matter, even just live a better life.
Exactly. It's about being intentional.
This has been fantastic. I feel like I can go out there and, well, conquer the world. Strategically, of course.
That's the spirit. The power is there. You just got to use it wisely and ethically. You'll see the difference.
This has been another amazing deep dive into Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. We'll be back next week with another look into human behavior and strategy. Until then, stay curious, everyone.